Okay, boys and girls, on this lesson, your job was to locate one whole on each number line. And they give you a fraction to try to help you. And in the morning message, Mrs. Schmidt said you kind of just have to take each little piece and guesstimate where the next fourth, like on this one, there's going to be 4 equal pieces in the whole because the denominator is 4. So you have to kind of guesstimate. So my index finger is about 1/4 wide. So I can come over here and then I can see I need to plot right here. Okay, so this will be 2/4. And once again, now I'm using a different hand, so who knows if these fingers are as wide. But this is 3/4. And then right here will be 4/4. And we know if we have 4 out of 4 that that is 1 whole. So that is how you do this page right here. So 4/4 is right there. On this number line, they want you to find 1 whole, and they give you a third to start with. So I'm looking, and there's going to be just a little bit on each side of, I'm now using a different finger that's a little bit fatter. There's going to be just a little bit, let me try this, a little bit more on each side. So if this is 1/3, then this would be 2/3. And then if I do the same thing here, this is going to be 3/3, and 3/3 certainly is 1 whole. So I have found it right here. Okay, they give you 2/3 here. So if they give you 2/3 right here, you know in the middle, it's going to be 1/3. And you can kind of eyeball directly above, boys and girls. 1/3, because these number lines are exactly the same size and they start. So 3/3 would be right about here, and we know that that's 1 whole. 3 out of 3 is 1 whole. So this is hard. This is really hard. Holy moly. But we can do it. We need to find 1 whole, and they gave us 9/6. So 6/6 would be the whole. How to tackle this problem? I'm literally just thinking out loud here. We did need to divide this part into 9 equal pieces. And then I'm thinking each one will be a 1/6. So, how to do that? Literally, I'm getting stumped here. The only way I can try to guess how to do this, I'm thinking I'm going to try to figure out where 1 whole is on this number line directly above, because the 1 wholes are pretty much in the same spot up above on all of these number lines. So I'm going to try to guess that is 1 whole. We'll see if that works or not. I'm just going to play around here. This is called trial and error. So if this is a whole, I'm going to just break my whole into 6 equal pieces. I'm going to start by breaking it in half, and then I'm going to break each half into thirds. See if that works. Now, I'm going to try to break, if this is 1 whole, and I just broke it into equal pieces, which this would be 6/6. So you can see that that would be 7/6, 8/6, and 9/6. Oh, it actually works. Now, the pieces may not exactly be perfect, but I'm thinking it's pretty good. So remember, I just took kind of the information I had above for where 1 whole was, okay? The next thing I did was I broke the whole down into the pieces that they want us to have. They want 6ths on this one. So this is 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. Remember, 3/6 was the same thing as 1/2, and that's where I actually started. 5/6, and then 1 whole is 6/6. Here's 7/6, 8/6, and then 9/6. So 1 whole on this number line is right here. It is 6/6. So this is the answer for finding 1 whole on this number line right there. They want us to explain how we found 1 whole for this exercise right here. So I just went through the reasoning of how I found that out. So rewind the video, boys and girls, and rewatch that part if you're confused. Okay, so this one gives me 11/4. Boys and girls, I know for a fact, I'm going to write up here, I know for a fact 4/4 equals 1 whole. I know that. So I'm thinking if I have 8/4, remember 8 divided by 4, that's 2 wholes. So 4, 8, 12. 12/4 is going to be 3 wholes. 12 divided by 3, or 12 divided by 4 rather, is 3 wholes. This is almost 3 wholes. Not quite. Almost. So if I were to try to look at this number line right here from 0 all the way to 11/4, if I tried to divide it into 3 equal pieces, that would give me 12/4. I only have 11. So I'm going to have to look on here. I'm still going to divide it into 3 equal pieces, but I'm going to make my third piece just a tiny bit smaller than the other 2 wholes, if that makes sense. So here's 1 whole, here's 2 wholes, and then that would be 3 wholes. I'm thinking that this is bigger. That's about 2 fingers, about 2 fingers. And yes, it's a little bit less than 2 fingers there. So I think I'm pretty good that this would be 1 whole, this would be 2 wholes, and then down here somewhere would be my 3 wholes. So I'm going to divide this into 4ths, divide this into 4ths. Well, let me divide it into half first. Making 4ths is a little bit tricky, but if you always make half and then cut each half in half, it's going to make your life a lot easier. So I know that 3 wholes is probably going to be down here somewhere. So I'm not going to exactly cut that in half, but I'm going to kind of look at these and try to estimate just a little bit. So let me try to start labeling 4ths. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 is 1 whole. 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4 is going to be 2 wholes. 9/4, 10/4, 11/4 right there, and then 12/4 would be down here, which would give you your 3 wholes. And I can see that these aren't exactly perfect. This might need to be moved over a little bit, and then 10/4 might need to be moved over just a tiny bit. But I'm pretty sure that's pretty darn accurate for 11/4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11/4. And then 12/4 would probably be down right about there if I were to keep extending it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. These are very difficult, boys and girls, but just try your best, okay? On the back side of this paper, they want you to locate each fraction on the number line, and they want you to draw another number line if you need to. I always recommend doing that. I recommend doing more work than you're actually required to because it makes it clear. But I think for this, we should be okay because this is 4ths. And remember, when you're cutting halves in half, you get 4ths. So if I were to cut this half in half, I would have my 1/4, okay? So I'm going to look at how big that half is, and it's almost 3 fingers wide. So if I move my hand kind of over here, I'm thinking that that might be my 1 hole right here. So if I cut this half in half, I'm definitely going to have my 3/4. It will fall right there. They're pretty equally spaced. 1/4, 2/4, which is equivalent to a half, and then 3/4. So that's how you would do that problem. Okay, on this problem, I'm looking at the denominator, and they want 6. That means each hole is going to have 6 pieces that are the same size. Now, I'm looking down here at the very end, and I'm seeing 10 6. So from 0 all the way to 10 6, I'm thinking if we went halfway in the middle, half of 10 is going to give us 5 6. And I can look up at this number line right here and see where the halfway mark is. So this whole thing, this isn't 1/2 in real life, boys and girls. This is going to be 5 6. 5 6 is half of 10 6. Okay, this is 5 6. So now I know if I have 5 6 here, this piece has to be divided into 5 equal pieces. This part has to be divided into 5 equal pieces. So now this is where you're kind of going to eyeball things, okay? So let's see. If I said that this was 6 6, and then 7 6, and then 8 6, and then 9 6, I can see that those pieces are too big. So I'm going to erase them, and I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. Let's see, 6 6, 7 6, 8 6, 9 6. Now they look like they're a little bit too small. Just trial and error, boys and girls. I'm going to move them down just a little bit, just to eyeball that I'm leaving equal spaces between each. Let's see if this kind of works. 6 6, 7 6, 8 6, 9 6, 10 6. This still looks a little bit off. It still does. So being the perfectionist I am, I'm going to move it down one more time. And remember, when you're doing this, when you're drawing with your pencil, you want to, as Lilia reminded us that one day, you want to quack the duck, right? You want to do it lightly. I'm not sure what you're seeing on my paper, boys and girls. I am going a little bit heavier and darker than I would want you to do because I'm not sure what's showing up. So these look pretty darn equally spaced. So 6 6, 7 6, 8 6, 9 6, 10 6. That's perfect. So if this is 6 6 right here, I want you to think about 6 sixths. That is 1 whole. Okay, so here's 7 6, 8 6, 9 6, and then I have my 10 6. Now, we are going to try to find where I want to fill in, even though you probably think that this is 5 6 right here, I want to try to figure out all of the 6 between 0 and this 1 hole. So I'm going to actually erase 5 6 right now. I'm going to get it out of there because it's easier to look at just the whole. Now remember, half of 6 is 3. So we can look here and find the halfway mark, and that's actually going to be 3 6 right there. 3 6. So now if I cut between 0 and 3/6. If I cut this in 2/6, I should have 1/6, 2/6, and then I'll do the same thing here. I will cut just this part and make it into 3 equal pieces. And look at, guys, oh my gosh, it did work. This is amazing. Here's our 5/6, and we were absolutely correct. So there's our answer right there. That's 5/6. That was a little complicated to try to figure out. Now on this fraction bar, or number line rather, they give you 1/4. They don't want you finding 1/4. They want you finding thirds. But I'm going to tell you right now, boys and girls, go with what they gave you and find the whole. So if this is 1/4, and I'm kind of eyeballing how much space is between, let me see if I could do that doesn't line up right. I'm kind of going to eyeball how much is here and how much is here and try to space that apart like that. So I'm thinking that that is going to be 2/4. And then I'm thinking that this is going to be 3/4. And then down here is going to be my 1/2. Those look pretty spaced out equally, boys and girls. So now that I have my 1/2, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to draw a number line, or you can do a fraction bar. I love fraction bars, boys and girls. I'm going to put 0 here, and I'm going to line this up with my 1/2 right here, okay? This is 0. Now I'm going to break this one into thirds, into 3 equal pieces, because that's my denominator. They want it divided into 3 equal pieces. So I'm thinking that 1/3, I know it's a little bit bigger than a 1/4, so I'm thinking that's 1/3, and then I'm thinking that's probably about 2/3, and these look, oh my gosh, pretty perfect. Not exactly perfect, boys and girls, but I am not expecting perfection. 1/3, 2/3, and that's exactly what they wanted you to find. Okay, so if you were to try to find where 2/3 would be right here, there it is. Right there, you can carry it below, it's right there. Okay, that's where it's at. All right, the next one. They want you to find 7/4. Well, they're giving you where 7/6 is. So I am going to try to find the whole right now, just one whole, and I'm going to use what they gave me here. So I know 6/6 is just a little bit less than 7/6. So I'm going to try to see if this right here is 1/2. And I'm going to divide it into half, and then I'm going to divide each half into thirds to get my 6. Because if you have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and you have that 6 times, that'll be 6/6. All right, if that made sense. Maybe I'm not making sense. I hope I am. So I'm going to pretend that this is 1 for right now. I'm going to cut it in half. Then I'm going to cut each half into thirds. See if that works. It does. So what I have now is 1/6, 2/6, 3/6 is the same as a half, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, which is my whole, and then 7/6. So I now know how to space these apart. So if I go here, that looks the same distance as here. Maybe a little bit bigger, but remember, we're not trying to get perfection. So this will be 8/6. Let's see, 8/4 is 2 holes. So I need to get to 7/4, which is less than 2 holes. So I'm still not to 2 holes yet. I'm going to try to get to 2 holes. 8, 6, 9, 6, 10, 6, 11, 6, and 12, 6. If I take 12, boys and girls, and I divide that by 6, that's 2. Right here is 2 holes. That's 1 hole right here, 2 holes right here. Now that I have my holes, I can go back, and what I'm going to do, I'm not going to erase all that work right there. I'm going to draw a fraction bar on top of that. They want fourths. I know that 1 hole is right here. I'm going to erase the 3, 6 right there so you can see what I'm doing. If this is 1 hole right here, how would I make that into 4 equal pieces? Think about that. Cutting it in half and then cutting each half in half. Now I will have 4 equal pieces. And over here I have a hole as well. So I know to break that hole into quarters, into fourths, I'm going to take it and I'm going to divide it in half first. And then I'm going to divide each half in half. So now I have 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. And that altogether is 8/4. And they wanted me to find 7 of those. So that would be right here. And if I wanted to find it on the number line, I would just go right here. There it is. That is 7/4. Just as easy as that. So, trying to find your hole with what is given is the first step before you can find what they really want. So if this is 2/3, half of that would be 1/3. So this must be 1/3. And then down here, it's looking like, well, it's looking to me like 3/3 is going to actually be a little bit farther than that, boys and girls. It looks like it might be down here to me. That's my opinion. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, which is a whole. Now, they don't want you finding thirds, boys and girls. They want you finding eighths. So, if you take this number line, now we know where our 1 hole is. If you take that and you put a fraction bar on top of that, this is 1 whole fraction bar. Excuse my crooked lines here. This is 1 whole. The first thing I'm going to do to be able to find my eighths, I'm going to break this baby in half. I'm going to take my hole and I'm going to cut it in half. There we go. I have 2 equal pieces. 1/2 and 1/2 is a whole. Now, to find fourths, that's the next step, I'm going to break each half in half. Now I have 4 equal pieces. If I cut each fourth in half, I will get eighths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. 7/8 right here. Right there. And of course, we're pretending my pieces are equal, boys and girls. There we go, 7/8. Okay, boys and girls, on this next one, this last one, it's 4 halves way down here. think to yourself, what is 4 divided by 2? If I have 4 and I divide it into 2 equal pieces, that's 2. This is actually 2 wholes. So if I take between 0 and 2 and I find the middle, I'm going to find 1 whole. There it is, 1 whole. It's actually, looks like it's a little bit off. Let me fix it. I think maybe that might be more accurate. Yeah, that's a little bit more accurate. And they're wanting you to find 8s. Boys and girls, if you have a whole and you want to turn it into 8s, remember what I said. We're going to cut the whole in half. We'll find the halfway mark first. Then we're going to cut each half in half, and then we'll have our 4ths, okay? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 is the same as 1 whole. Now, we don't want this divided into 4 pieces. We want to double it and divide it into 8 pieces. So we're going to cut each 4th in half, okay? Now we have our 8ths right here. You're going to continue to do that same thing over here. You're going to take between 1 and 2, which is 1 whole. You're going to cut that in half. After you have your half, you're going to cut each half in half and have your 4ths, and then you'll cut each 4th in half to get your 8ths. Okay, let's try that. So here, that's half. I'm going to cut those in half. Now I have my 4ths. I'm going to cut each 4th in half to get my 8ths. So boys and girls, this is not 1/8. It is not. Let's count here. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. I'm not going to label each one. 6/8, 7/8. 8/8 is 1 whole. I'll put that down here. 9/8. 10/8 right here. 10/8. It's right here. 11/8, 12/8, 13/8, 14/8, 15/8, 16/8. And if you think about 16/8, 16 divided by 8, boys and girls, is 2. 2 wholes. I think we just discovered where our 10/8 falls on that. I'm hoping that you're watching those Khan Academy videos that I have linked, or the other videos that I have linked prior to coming on and checking your work with these videos. Okay, boys and girls, I sure miss you. Instruction in class would be quite different. This is the best I can do for now. Miss you. Bye.